Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, where we solve LeetCode problems in a super easy and fun way. Today, we're going to tackle the find the length of the longest common prefix problem. It's a medium-level problem, but don't worry, I'll break it down for you step by step, so you can understand and solve it like a pro. So, let's understand the problem first. We have a list of strings, and we need to find the length of the longest common prefix among all these strings. For example, if we have 3 strings, flower, flow, and flight, the longest common prefix would be fl, which has a length of 2. So, our task is to write a function that takes a list of strings as input and returns the length of the longest common prefix. Now, let's think about the intuition behind this problem. Imagine you're at a library, and you have a bunch of books with different titles. You want to find the common prefix among all these titles. One way to do it is to look at the titles character by character. You start with the first character, and if all the titles have the same character, you move on to the next character. If you find a character that's different, you stop. And the common prefix is all the characters you've seen so far. This is exactly what we're going to do in our solution. So, how are we going to solve this problem? First, we need to find the shortest string in the list, because the longest common prefix cannot be longer than the shortest string. Then, we're going to iterate through each character of the shortest string, and for each character, we're going to check if it's the same in all the other strings. If we find a character that's different, we stop, and the length of the common prefix is the number of characters we've seen so far. Now, let's look at the code. We start by checking if the input list is empty. If it is, we return 0, because there's no common prefix. Then, we find the shortest string in the list using the min_element function. We use a lambda function to compare the lengths of the strings. Then, we iterate through each character of the shortest string, and for each character, we check if it's the same in all the other strings. We use a nested loop to do this. If we find a character that's different, we return the length of the common prefix, which is the number of characters we've seen so far. If we get through the entire shortest string without finding a different character, we return the length of the shortest string, because that's the longest common prefix. Let's go through the code line by line. We have a class solution with a function longest common prefix that takes a list of strings as input. We first check if the input list is empty, and if it is, we return 0. Then, we find the shortest string in the list using the min_element function. We use a lambda function to compare the lengths of the strings. This line of code is really important, because it allows us to find the shortest string in a single line. Then, we iterate through each character of the shortest string, and for each character, we check if it's the same in all the other strings. We use a nested loop to do this. The outer loop iterates through each character of the shortest string, and the inner loop iterates through each string in the input list. We use the indexing operator to access each character of each string. The time complexity of this solution is n*m, where n is the length of the input list and m is the length of the shortest string. The space complexity is 1. Because we're not using any extra space that scales with the input size. And that's it, guys. That's the solution to the find the length of the longest common prefix problem. I hope you understood the intuition and the code explanation. If you have any questions or want to share your approach, please comment below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and comment your approach below.